mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts. How do we like our martial arts? We like them mixed. Woo!
Wow. What a weekend off will do to a man. As you could hear, Casey Leiden fired up for the return of the UFC and even the return of Bellator MMA. Yes, UFC Vegas 97 at the world's most famous Apex. Bellator heads back to San Diego. And as you can see, two pretty damn good main events. We're going to talk about those two fights and much more on today's show. As we welcome you to the UFC Vegas 97 and Bellator San Diego preview show here at MMAfighting.com. Hello there, I am Mike Heck. We got the crew. Of course, you heard Casey Leiden already on the ones and twos. You'll see him a little bit later on as we answer your questions. But joining me, my fellow New Englander, fellow Red Sox fan, he is the great José Youngs, joining us from beautiful New York City. There he is. What's up, my man?
Not the Red Sox run scored, I'll tell you that much. I swear to God, if we lose to the White Sox once this upcoming series, just sit everyone, let them heal up, and just play for 2025. I swear to God, if we lose to the White Sox, this is the first Red Sox team in the history of baseball to be swept by the Mets in a regular season. And I swear to God, if we lose one game to the White Sox, it's the worst season in Red Sox history. And that 2012 was abysmal. This will be worse if we lose one game to the Sox.
Yeah, it's at this point I'm kind of in the mode of like, let's just get to that point where we can.
But here's the problem.
Freaking out about
here's the problem, and everyone's gonna love this part of the chat because they're here to talk about baseball, obviously. We keep losing, but so do the Royals. So we're not out of it, which is annoying. Just put us out of our like Bobby Witt Jr. just needs to go on a tear and put us out of our misery. So we can be down 10 games right now, because if like we're losing and they're losing, like we're like 4 games back. Just kill us already, and so we can sit Devers, his hurt shoulders and all.
Completely agree. But hey, look, we're here to talk about mixed martial arts.
I guess
we got the UFC, we got Bellator, UFC main event, UFC Vegas 97. Gilbert Burns, the one-time title challenger, the man who was this close to becoming welterweight champion when he fought Kamaru Usman. Yeah. He's on a little bit of the schneid right now. He faces Shawn Brady, who lost to the current champion Belal Muhammad, bounced back with a tremendous performance against Kelvin Gastelum. High-stakes main event over there. And then in San Diego, incredible fight for the lightweight title between Usman Nurmagomedov and Alexander Shabily, which is maybe the most under-the-radar fight. I don't know if it's the most under-the-radar fight of the year, but it's probably in the top 5 right now. Not enough people are talking about this one. These main events are great. Like, you cannot go wrong here. Which one of these stands out more to you?
I think the more action-packed fight is going to be Brady and Gilbert Burns. I don't think that's going to because Gilbert Burns is outside of when he had to, wrestle Stephen Thompson, isn't really in that many boring fights, and neither is Shawn Brady. He's had a lot of high-level submissions, and he's been knocked out once. So that will probably be the better, that will produce probably more highlights as a whole, but in terms of high-level martial arts, that'll probably be more technical or one-sided, and I don't think it will be one-sided, is the Usman Nurmagomedov versus Alexander Shabily fight. This fight has been a long time coming. Shabily, I know Shabily's lost, but he hasn't lost in a long time, right? He's never lost in Bellator, if I remember correctly. I think it was 2016, so we're pushing almost 10 years undefeated, and Usman is, part of that. Usman Nurmagomedov, if the name doesn't give it away, is part of that Dagestani crew. And from everything we've heard, Islam's the man right now. Habib is considered by many to be one of, if not the greatest lightweights of all time. He might be in your top 5 fighters just ever. Umar is doing his thing at bantamweight, but if you talk to those guys, a lot of people kind of circle Usman Nurmagomedov as the best one of the group. He has the wrestling, he has the striking, as we saw when he fought Benson Henderson and he head kicked him in the face with this like a switch kick. I know he beat who did he beat his last fight? Brent Primus, did he beat Brent Primus, or he quote unquote beat Brent Primus? I know it's a no contest, but That was a fun
Yeah.
fight at Bellator 300. So he might be the best one. So I think in terms of high level martial arts, which I'm always a fan of, that's, I think, the clear answer, because there is a possibility that Usman Nurmagomedov is the number one lightweight on planet Earth. We just haven't been able to see that in Bellator because and I'm not knocking Bellator or the PFL in terms of their fighters, because they can only fight who you put in front of them. But I think it's safe to say the UFC's lightweight division is a lot better than Bellator's lightweight division. So we've just seen Islam against far better competition than Usman Nurmagomedov. Not to say that if you threw him in there, Usman couldn't be champion. We haven't seen it yet. So Usman Alexander Shabily is the better martial arts fight. The more thrilling fight will probably be Shawn, Brady and Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from there. I think this is the first Usman Nurmagomedov fight that we've seen where it's like,
Yeah,
like
I
we're
agree.
gonna see him tested in this one. So
I agree.
Here's one of the issues I have about, I'm not gonna like call it the entire fan base, but you know how this works. Like the UFC is the number one and everyone else is just kind of there. I feel like anytime you say something nice about Usman Nurmagomedov and his future and where you personally think he sits in the lightweight division globally, people will throw out exactly what you said. Well, he's in Bellator. Well, he hasn't fought this guy. Well, he hasn't fought that guy. And it's almost like not fair because you just fight the dudes that are put in front of you. And he is, for the most part, running everybody over. Like these fights aren't even all that competitive. And now he's got Alexander Shabily. And I don't think a lot of people understand how good this man is. You laid out sort of the accolades in this long unbeaten streak that he's had. Do you feel like the narrative changes here if Usman Nurmagomedov does to Alexander Shabily what he has done to everybody else that he's fought so far?
Unfortunately not. I think for the diehards, there'll be like a small amount, like especially online. Just unfortunately not, because as good as Alexander Shabily is, I just don't think it's going to cross over into like when Islam beat Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira. Like that was, on a high, that was on like a massive spotlight, especially when he, that Dustin Poirier fight is one of the best fights of the year. When he choked out Charles Oliveira, the guy who has the most finishes ever in UFC history, that was thrilling. And then fight of the year against Volkanovski, and then head kicked him in the rematch that had a lot of eyes on him. Usman's just not getting the spotlight, and as good as Shabily is, I just don't like, if you went to 10 MMA fans right now, who would you rather watch? Gilbert Burns, Shawn Brady in the UFC fight, or Usman Nurmagomedov versus Alexander Shabily? I bet a bunch of them pick the UFC fight just because it's the UFC fight, and it's probably just more easier to find and watch online or on television, however you watch your fights. So unfortunately, probably not. He would need a guy like I don't even know who in the UFC in Bellator right now would be a big enough name. Like if they
AJ McKee is probably the only one.
And even then, that's a big name for MMA fans. That is a big name for MMA fans. But if you like, AJ McKee is probably better than Paddy Pimblett at mixed martial arts. Paddy Pimblett is still a bigger star than AJ McKee just because of the platform. Sure. And that's like fighting style. I would favor AJ McKee over Paddy Pimblett. I like 9 out of 10 times. Paddy Pimblett, that win over Bobby Green was eye-opening for me. I just think they just don't have, like, I remember, like, how many, like, if you went to Reddit right now and someone post something like this preview show, they'd probably be like, oh, this fight's happening this week. Like when I post anything about PFL or Bellator on our social channels, it's like, didn't know this was happening. It's just a bummer because Usman is so good and Alexander Shabily is so good. And I'm not saying I hope they come to the UFC because I don't like they can do whatever they want. I wish more people appreciated how fantastic this main event is.
Yeah, it's a good one. And we'll give our predictions and thoughts on it a little bit more. But let's talk about Shawn Brady versus Gilbert Burns. Both guys make weight. We'll talk about the fighters who didn't make weight. We may even have some news on this show as this all goes down about possible changes to the UFC card based on Dylan Butka just looking horrific on the scale. But man, what a fight here. Gilbert Burns was beating Jack Della Maddalena. He was beating him, about to win that fight not that long ago in Miami. And then Jack Della Maddalena comes back.
Yeah.
Comeback of the year, just destroys Gilbert Burns, brutal finish. And now Gilbert Burns is in this really interesting position right now where, I mean, we talked about it on BTL yesterday. like the highest level gatekeeper in this division right now. He's kind of in this position now where he's just going to have to fight these up and coming guys. And if you ever want to fight for the belt or you can get in that position, you're going to have to beat a guy like Gilbert Burns to do it. And on the flip side, we have Sean Brady, who I think people have looked at him for a long time as a guy who could fight for the belt. He's had some kind of questionable performances. The Michael Chiesa fight, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes because he slowed down in the third round. The Bilal performance, he's talked about it at media today, just getting a lot of crap about that from the fans, saying he was quote unquote fraud checked and all of that. And then he bounced back and just ragdolls Calvin Gastelum. This is a really interesting fight, Jose. Who do you think needs this one more between these two guys?
Gilbert Burns. He's 38. If we're talking what we should be talking about, and that's who will fight for the title in like title shots and everything, because this is a sport, the answer is Gilbert Burns. If he loses again because he, like you said, he was very close to beating Jack Della Maddalena, and in hindsight, that win by Jack is even more impressive considering he hasn't even physically fully recovered from the injuries he's taken that fight. And he put Gilbert Burns away. If Gilbert loses again, that's 3 in a row. He's lost to the champion, lost to a future contender, and before that, he's lost to Hamza in one of the best fights, 300 fights you'll ever see, and the champion. So if Gilbert Burns, quote unquote gatekeeper, but he's not a gatekeeper to the top 10. He's basically a gatekeeper to the top 5 because the guys that have beat him are former champion, who at the time was a champion, Hamza, who a lot of people think should be fighting for the title if he can just figure out his health and weight issues, Bilal Muhammad, current champion, and Jack Della Maddalena, future contender. So if you beat Gilbert Burns, you are top 5 at the welterweight division, and he's not in bad fights. I know the Masvidal fight is what it is. I don't think that fight was as bad as people say. And then the Stephen Thompson fight, his back was to the wall because he had just lost to Kamaru Usman. He wanted to get right back in there, title contention. If he loses 3 in a row to Sean Brady, a guy who has not fought anyone, who has not beaten anyone as impressive who has an impressive resume as the guys that Gilbert Burns has beaten, I think it's sayonara for a while for Gilbert Burns' title shots. That'd be, like I said, 3 in a row, 38. Guy that he should beat because, like we see a lot with because let's not, like, Sean Brady has incredible jiu-jitsu. Gilbert Burns might have the best jiu-jitsu in the welterweight division. After, he knocked out Damian Maia. Similar thing. You get 2 high-level jiu-jitsu guys in there, can turn into a sloppy kickboxing fight. I don't think Gilbert Burns really has sloppy kickboxing. I think he's actually a very skilled boxer in there. He doesn't kick a whole lot, but he punches a whole lot, and his boxing is very impressive in the pocket. So we've seen what happened when, Shavkat keeps talking about it. Bilal Muhammad doesn't really finish his opponents. But Bilal Muhammad knocked out Sean Brady, and I think Gilbert Burns is a lot better, hits a lot harder than Bilal Muhammad, the current champion. So, if Gilbert Burns loses 3 in a row, and that would be, 3 in a row, 4 of 6 or 4 of 7, that's not great. So the answer is Gilbert Burns, for sure.
Do you think we're going to get because you mentioned it yourself, and I don't think Gilbert Burns gets enough credit for his striking. Yeah. I mean, he dinged up Kamaru Usman and almost finished him. That he knocked Hamza down and hurt him a whole bunch. Like, the man can pack a punch, and he's no disrespect to Sean Brady, because I think people know how much I respect that man. Brady's a very good fighter, but Gilbert Burns is the better striker here. So because of the pedigree and the jiu-jitsu and the grappling prowess of both guys, what are the chances this is just this is a kickboxing match between 2 really good grapplers? I
think it's a high chance, because that tends to be what happens when you get 2 jiu-jitsu guys in there. I mean, we saw, or not even just jiu-jitsu guys, like just grapplers in general. Like, I think that narrative really started when Matt Hughes fought BJ Penn, and they just kind of punched. Oh no, was it Matt Hughes, BJ Penn, or Matt Hughes, Josh Koscheck? One of those fights. I could have been both of those fights, but it was just like 2 grapplers were just punching and kicking each other a whole lot until one of them's just, lost. I think it might have been the Koscheck fight. I can't remember. But then, we saw the same thing with Damian Maia and Gilbert Burns. Like I said, Gilbert Burns knocked him out with that hook, I think it was. I can't quite remember. Charles Oliveira has done it a whole bunch of times. Obviously, he almost broke Tony Ferguson's arm clean off. Tends to happen a whole lot in MMA. So I think there's a high chance. This is an MMA fight. So like I said, someone gets hurt, they might just shoot in for a takedown just to kind of stop the onslaught. But I don't see Sean Brady or Gilbert Burns submitting either one. That's not because they can't. I just think they're both fighters so skilled. I just don't see it happening. I don't see a submission happening. And if it happens, that'd be crazy. And I say that, but then Islam submitted Charles Oliveira. But then Charles Oliveira gets submitted a lot. So I don't know.
It's a crazy, wacky sport that we're a part of. As of right now, according to FanDuel, Sean Brady, the favorite, minus 188. The comeback on Gilbert Burns, plus 152. From what I understand, this thing opened as pretty much a pick'em fight, Jose. So are we going with the younger Sean Brady, or are we going with the wily veteran Gilbert Burns, especially since you believe there's a real chance that this is going to be a stand-up fight for the majority of it?
Been wrong a lot lately in picking main events for the UFC. And my reasoning is usually this guy might be better. We just haven't seen it yet. So I'm going to go with the guy that's proven it. And my gut says Gilbert Burns, because he was about to beat Jack Della Maddalena. Like, he was, minute and a half away from being Jack Della Maddalena. Sean Brady beat Kelvin Gastelum in his last fight. That was a long time. That was December. And Kelvin hasn't had the best string of luck against high-level fighters. And before that, he got knocked out by Bilal Muhammad. And that sentence alone should probably lean towards Gilbert Burns, just for the knockout aspect of it. But I'm going to go against the grain because I've been wrong so much, and I'll just pick Sean Brady. And I'll say I don't know how much because Gilbert Burns was out cold, like he got hurt against Jack. I'm curious to see if he's recovered. That was in March. It's now September. I know that's a lot of time, but brain damage is brain damage. Getting knocked out is getting knocked out. So I'm going to go against what I normally pick, and I'll pick Sean Brady just because I need to be right at least once this year.
This is tough. Like, if I was, I bring this up a lot. Like, if the $20 betting person drops a 20 and says you can only bet on this fight, I'm putting that 20 on Gilbert Burns, because I think this should be absolutely lying closer. I still think my gut is going with Sean Brady to win a decision here. I think it's one he's going to have to survive in order to win. It's just one of those things, because we haven't seen Brady in a 5-round fight in the UFC. That is for certain. He's been there before because he's fought for CFFC and he's been in title fights. Burns has been in the 5-round game for a hot minute now. He's done it many times. But I think like Shawn is so physically strong. Like, if you ever stand next to this guy, if you just follow him on Instagram, the fact that he can make welterweight as easily as he does is really surprising to me, because he's a friggin' tank.
Yeah, he's just not that. He's like Tyron Woodley, just not that tall.
Yeah, he's just a friggin' monster. So I think that physicality will be enough. Do I think this is going to be the most exciting fight of all time? No. I think I could see Brady just kind of keeping Burns up against the fence a little bit, trying to wear him down in that sense. And who knows? Maybe fireworks will explode here. But I'll go Sean Brady by decision. I'm not all that confident in it, but it's a really interesting matchup. I think stylistically, this could get real weird at certain points, but yeah, give me Brady to maybe win 3 of the first 4 rounds, and then round 5 gets real hairy, and Brady might have to survive to hang on to win. So who knows? If a finish happens, do you think it's coming from Burns?
Yes. I think Burns is, both of them are submission hunters, but I just think, I'd say so. I don't think Sean Brady is going to knock out Gilbert Burns, and I don't see either man submitting them. I think if there's going to be a finish, it'll be a Gilbert Burns TKO. Yeah.
I could see that happening as well. Co-main event's a good one too. Big one in the women's flyweight division, and perfect timing for this fight since the title is going to be on the line next week. We got Natty Ice, Natalia Silva, 5-0 in the UFC. She has just been climbing those ranks real fast. This is her 6th fight since making her debut in June of 2022, when she beat Jasmine Jasudavicius. She's got wins over Andrea Lee. She's got wins over Viviane Araújo. And now she gets her biggest test to date against the former strawweight champion, the one-time flyweight title challenger, Jessica Andrade. And we always talk about like low-key bangers and fights outside of the main event that people should have their eye on the most. It's this one with a bullet. I know it's not that low-key, but I've been waiting for this fight for quite some time, Jose. What say you?
Yeah, it's great. This fight is, I love, and when I say prospect, Natalia Silva has like 20 plus fights, and Jessica Andrade has fought pretty much everyone in the top 10 in 2 divisions, has fought for the title in 2 divisions. Like if there's a women's BMF fight, she has to be involved in one half of that. And that's not even a conversation. It's her versus whoever she wants to fight. Natalia Silva reminds me a lot, her like career arc is reminding me a lot of Vicente Luque, where I think they were both 7-5 at one points in their career, and 7-5 is not like, no one looks at a fighter that's 7-5 and be like, oh yeah, future UFC title challenger. But their fights are just not boring. They are always in just bangers, and they're like, and obviously there was that stretch of time when Vicente Luque, if he had probably beaten Stephen Thompson, he probably would have fought for the title. And he's just putting people away. And I know he just lost his fight against Joaquin Buckley, but Joaquin Buckley has found new life since dropping to welterweight. Natalia Silva is basically the women's version of Vicente Luque. I think she's like 4 or 5 years younger, because Vicente Luque, I'm older than Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque is like 32. That's crazy to me. So yeah, whoever wins this, I don't think is going to get the next shot at the title. That should probably still go to Tatiana Suarez. And I know we have, or this is a fly. Yeah, it should go to, yeah, I don't think they're going to fight for the title next, but Natalia Silva is pretty much the future of this division. She's 27, 26. Can't wait. Like circle, like you said, if there's one fight that, on either card that's like flying on the radar, this one. This is a flyer fight. I don't know why I said strawweight. The Rose and Aaron is up there too, and obviously Manny Ferro is kind of floating around. So Natalia Silva or Jessica Andrade is probably going to fight one more time. But I mean, Jessica Andrade could fight at strawweight if she wins. She could fight at bantamweight if she wins. So I feel like Jessica Andrade is one of those fighters that's always like one fight away, like Dustin Poirier. Like if you slotted her into a title fight right now, would anyone complain? Probably not.
Yeah, she's become the Kevin Millar of the women's flyweight division and just women's MMA. Win 3, lose 3, win 3 again. Just incredibly streaky right now at this point in her career. She's one of those fighters that when you think she's done, that's what she comes through in a big way. And when you feel like this is a fight she probably can't win at this point in her career, this is when she has her best performances. And I know you're not a big betting guy, but I want to get your reaction to these betting odds here. Natalia Silva minus 320 favorite.
That's
over
crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That Jessica Andrade to be that much more.
It's a big number. I did not see that one coming. This is the first time I've looked at it this week. I was like, holy shit, minus 320?
Yeah.
That's a big number.
That's insane.
Does she win?
Jessica Andrade? I'm going to do the opposite of what I did with Brady and Burns, and I'll pick Jessica because Natty Ice rules. She might be the best flyweight in the world, but until I see her beat someone that's on the same level as like Marina, Mackenzie Dern, like she's beaten Lauren Murphy, fought for the title. She's beaten Kellen Chukagian, who's fought for the title. She's beaten Amanda Lemos, who's fought for the title. She's beaten Rose. Obviously, she's 1-1 with Rose. She's beaten Carolina. She's beaten Tisha Torres, beaten Claudia. Basically, if you fought for a title at strawweight or flyweight, you fought Jessica Andrade, and Jessica Andrade has pretty much beat most of them. So, like I said, Gilbert Burns is your gatekeeper to the top 5. That's basically what Jessica Andrade is for the flyweight and strawweight division. So I'll go Jessica Andrade. I'll do the opposite. I'll pick Shawn Brady. I'll pick the up and coming guy, that even though I don't think he's up and coming. And I'm not picking the veteran in the main event, but I'm picking the veteran in the co-main event. I'll probably be wrong in both.
Yeah. I mean, if you think I'm going to come on this program or any other program and pick against Natty Ice, you're absolutely out of your mind. So I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a really fun fight. I'm very much interested to see how things go if Jessica Andrade is able to get takedowns. I know Jessica told her on Guillermo Cruz that she saw some holes watching the Viviane Araújo fight, that she feels the takedowns are going to be there, and she feels that if she gets Natty Ice or anybody else down, they ain't getting back up. And I told Natty Ice that, and she was like, all right, like, bet, do that and see what happens. So yeah, really interested in that fight. I think Silva wins the decision here. I don't think she gets a finish. It'd be absolutely insane if she does, but 29-28 kind of thing where it's even heading into round 3, and now he's just a little busier in round 3 and gets the job done. But yeah, good fight. Can't wait for it. Yeah, main card also has Kyle Nelson, who missed weight today against Steve
Yeah.
Garcia. Kyle Nelson was supposed to fight Calvin Kattar on this card, so that's tough. Matt Schnell versus Cody Durden. Matt Schnell was supposed to fight Alessandro Costa. Trevor Peek versus Yanal Ashbuz. You just know that that's going to be insane. And then we got Rongju versus Chris Padilla. Isaac Dulgarian, Jose. This might be an interesting little number for you. He is going, by the time this fight happens, he will close as the biggest favorite in UFC history by a lot. He is currently a minus 3,500 favorite against New Hampshire's own Brendan Murat, which is nuts to say out loud. Isaac Dulgarian, biggest favorite in UFC history. Andre Lima, Felipe dos Santos. Gabriel Santos versus Yija. Jacqueline Amarim.
You say he's the biggest favorite in UFC history?
Minus 3,500. Isaac Dulgarian is going to close probably as the biggest favorite ever in a UFC fight.
Isaac is the guy that was supposed to get the full send contract, but then like something happened, he didn't get it on like the regional scene. Was like looking for a fight or something like that, or a Contender Series. Yeah,
yep,
yeah. I know he lost to Christian Rodriguez, but he's looked pretty impressive. Who did Brandon last lose to? Was that the Terrence McKinney fight?
Yeah. Took it on like a couple days' notice and got knocked out in like 20 seconds.
Like 20 seconds? Yeah. I mean,
it's a tough draw for your UFC debut on like 4 days' notice.
I mean, going back to back with Terrence and Isaac, that's God bless. God bless.
Yeah. What else we got? Andre Petrosky versus Dylan Butka. Have you seen Dylan Butka's weigh-in yet?
No, I have not.
Pretty frightening.
Is it bad?
He's shaky. He had a hard time even getting up on the scale. It seems like after you watch this, your first reaction is, yeah, this guy should probably not be getting into a fist fight tomorrow. But you know what, Jose?
Right.
As of right this second, he is going to be getting into a fist fight. The UFC has apparently the doctors have cleared him. And as of right now, this fight will move forward with Andre Petrosky, with Butka forfeiting 20% of his purse to Andre Petrosky. I'm shocked that this is happening.
Yeah, I don't like that. Don't like that. Probably fight, these guys, the way the UFC is structured, they need to take these fights to make money. I'm sure Andre Petrosky's happy. Because Petrosky has fought a ton lately.
Yeah, he's been a busy man.
If I remember correctly, because in my mind, because when you told me to, like, I was doing the show, I just kind of scanned to the main card or the card altogether, and I was like, I'm like, the last thing I remember Andre Petrosky doing was losing to Jacob Malkoun, and then I went and looked, and it was like, oh, he had a fight since then. Like, the dude just doesn't stop fighting. Losing to Jake, and that Jacob Malkoun fight, like, he knocked himself out, right? Wasn't he like shooting for a takedown and like hit himself on a hip bone or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah. God bless. And he's the guy that he's the one that keeps calling out Bo Nickel. Just make that fight.
Yeah, at this point, let's do it. If he gets a quick finish or something, then yeah, just book that at MSG. Bellator's main card, Usman Nurmagomedov, Alexander Shabily. We'll get your pick in that in a second. Lorenz Larkin is back, fighting Levon Chokeli. Douglas Lima back in Bellator, re-signed with them. He's fighting Aaron Jeffrey
at middleweight.
Samiko Inaba versus Mackenzie Stiller. Yancy Medeiros, former UFC fighter, taking on Jorah Ivazian, and then a whole bunch of prelims where typically we already understand where most of these fights are going to end up playing out. But your pick for the main event, Jose, Usman Nurmagomedov versus Alexander Shabily, is Mr. Shabily the one to hand Usman Nurmagomedov a one in the loss department?
I don't think so. But like you said, this is the first fight where Usman's had where I'm not 100% confident that Usman Nurmagomedov is going to, like, Brent Primus and Benson Henderson are, Benson Henderson is a legend for, like, first ballot. If there's an MMA Hall of Fame, Benson is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Brent Primus has fought pretty much everyone at that lightweight division in Bellator, but those guys are on the other side of 40. I think this was probably the match because this is technically the end of that Grand Prix, correct?
This should be for $1 million, by the way.
This is don't get me started. Do not get me started. That's so annoying. I want to see the big goofy check that they were promised, and that's so frustrating. And this fight should have happened. Obviously, Usman Nurmagomedov had the PED accusations, drug pop, whatever you want to call it. This is probably the finale that everyone assumed when they put this bracket together. When they were both matched up on the other side of the. This was the one that when they announced this, however long ago that was, this is probably the one. Like if you filled out your bracket before, this is probably going to be the main event. I pick Usman, and I'm pretty confident in my pick. But Shabily is the first guy that if he loses, if Usman loses, I don't think this is going to be on the list of like biggest upsets of the year. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I don't think this is in the World MMA Awards next year. I don't think Shabli's defeating Usman Nurmagomedov is going to be one of these like, oh, holy shit, do you remember that upset in 2024? No. Shabily is so good, and Usman Nurmagomedov is so good. So I think this is about as high level of a main event for Usman as you can get. Yeah.
Usman minus 430 favorite, by the way, for those who are paying attention to that, which is a small number for him. So, yeah, I'm going with Usman as well. I think Shabli's really, really good. I think he's probably one of the 20 best at worst lightweights in the world, Shabily, I mean. But I just think Usman's just got too much for him. I think he can get this fight to the ground. Shabli's a tremendous striker. Things could get real interesting if they have just a striking match the entire time, which wouldn't shock me if Usman won that as well. But we'll see. I think this is going to answer a lot of questions for the doubters. I don't know if they will change their opinions on him and the level of competition, but it's a damn good start. It's a damn good start, and really looking forward to this one as we bring in the baddest stash in all of MMA. Where is he? Sleeves are optional. There he is. He's got sleeves today.
Yeah. I'm saving it for the fan Q&A tomorrow. I can't, I got to slow build.
Yes, slow build indeed. Let's take a few questions.
No problem.
What are people excited about? What are they talking about?
All right, what we got here? I said our super chat first. I think it's a Contender Series question, so you'll be the guy for this.
Ha! Will Torres Finney get a UFC contract? If he finishes this dude he's fighting, he will. I would assume. I think they're just waiting for that to happen.
He's the first guy to have 3 fights, right? 3 contender fights?
No. What's his? Jamie Pickett, I think, had 3.
Did he have 3? Was he 3-0 though?
I don't know if he was 3-0.
So let me rephrase. If Torres Finney wins this, is he the first guy to go 3-0 at Contender Series?
Might be. It's a good little number right there.
Wait, why isn't he signed? Is he 2-0, 1 decision, 1 finish?
So he fought on the Contender Series last year and got a finish. Yeah. But it wasn't like one of the finishes where Dana was like, yeah, this guy rules. We have to have him. And Dana basically told him, hey, just go get a couple more fights. You're a little raw. Like, you're obviously talented, but you're a little raw. Because he's a young man. He's one of those fighters that looks a little bit older than he is. Like, if you told me he was 33, I would believe you. But he's only 25. 24?
Yeah, 25.
25
now.
He's 25.
He had a really big viral knockout on the regional scene where he basically just murdered his opponent with a single punch. And it just generated so much conversation online that when he fought in the Contender Series next, he was one of those guys that was earmarked. And he didn't just he didn't do what everyone thought he was going to do. He won, fair play to him. And then he got one fight. And then the last fight he won, but Dana was like, you're just physically stronger than everyone. Like, go get better at MMA, basically.
Yeah. I've seen him fight twice live when he fought for Masvidal's MMA promotion.
That's right.
Same building for both. Because I remember he stood out when he fought the first time I saw him. He just destroyed this guy. He just picked him up, slammed him, and just beat the shit out of him for like 2 minutes until the fight was over. And then I saw him like 6 months later, same promotion, fought another guy. He was winning, got a lot of takedowns, a lot of top control, but it was not the most aesthetically pleasing performance of his career. And then in the third round, he ended up getting a finish with like 50 seconds left in it. But it wasn't like, I didn't have the same feeling I had after watching him the first time. It was like, all right, maybe there's some holes here. Maybe he gets a little too tired. Not really sure. The dude is a physical freak. There's no doubt about
He
it.
looks
but
like
he's a little
when
small.
he looks like he breaks the door when he walks through them because his shoulders are so wide.
Yeah. He's incredibly talented, but
Yeah.
he's a little raw. He's a little rough around the
To
edge.
me, it just sounds like they're not signing him so people watch a Contender Series. It has nothing to do with him. He's clearly UFC level, and they've signed worse fighters.
They have signed worse. They absolutely have signed worse guys.
Yeah, so it's just to me, this is like.
I don't know. Oh, sorry. Go on. I think this is what they should do this more often in Dana White Contender Series, where like you're really good, but you're just like not quite ready. Like come back next time. I like the fact that we give out like 5 contracts an episode now drives me nuts. I wish they would do this more often. Not saying we have to do it with this guy, but I think they should do it with more fighters.
Yeah.
I think that's.
If you like a guy, if you like a guy and don't think he's ready, do what you used to do. Give him the developmental contract. Keep him on Fight Pass cards. LFA. I mean, when CES was there, like do that. Chase Hooper, like that was his thing. William Knight loved the developmental deal because he could fight anytime he wanted. That's how you got less green as you fought. And the UFC had some say in where you fought and what promotion, etc. And that also gets you in front of eyeballs who would typically watch a UFC fight.
Because here's
more so.
And at the end of the day, also, like if you get a guy, like say he got this contract the first time, it's like, fine, that guy looks crazy and he had the big viral knockout. But the next time he fights, you're probably like, oh yeah, I remember this guy. But once you sign a guy to a quote unquote developmental deal, you probably remember. That's such a unique thing these days that that's more memorable than getting a knockout on the Contender Series. Because then you would like, I know we're talking like we want people to watch. They're just doing this because they want people to watch the Contender Series, or they probably want people to watch LFA or whatever. But like, being a developmental fighter in the UFC is such a unique thing that people will actually probably want to see what this guy is all about next time he fights.
What are does that mean they get a stipend? What is like they get like an extra $5,000 a month just for what is the developmental deal? What does that even mean?
Yeah. So basically, like they are locked into the UFC. The UFC has them under contract, but their developmental deal is they will fight outside of the UFC in sort of like UFC approved organizations. So for the most part, so like when Chase Hooper got a developmental deal, he was fighting for like Titan FC, who aired on Fight Pass. When William Knight got one, he fought for CFFC, he fought for CES, fought for organizations like that were cards airing on Fight Pass. But you could pick and choose whenever you wanted to fight. So William Knight would fight like every 6 weeks.
But there has to be some money involved. Otherwise, you can. I mean, extra money. I'm talking about like they give you like whatever.
Probably, yeah.
Because otherwise, every fighter is a developmental deal outside of you. I mean, like CFC and LFA.
I would imagine that.
Chase
Hooper was the highest paid fighter on LFA.
Okay,
like something like that.
Yeah. So I would assume UFC gives a little money to LFA in their the payouts or something like that.
Probably.
I'd assume that. Yeah.
Otherwise,
I don't know for sure.
Otherwise, it's not. It's just they're just fighting in LFA to me.
Well, I think it's because like if Chase Hooper couldn't go fight in PFL or Bellator, it's like locking him into the UFC.
Exactly.
Like he's now on the trajectory to like we want you, but we're not ready to have you right this second. Yeah. But we also don't want
to. Can't sign elsewhere.
That doesn't sound like a good deal. Wow, that sounds like a bad deal for the fighter.
I think it's what Tim Simpson said. Some people, they want to make a lot of money, and some people want to get to the UFC. And either way, you're the fighter, and do you, bro?
Oh yeah. That was one of the most honest things I've heard a manager say. It's
and
like, fighters
he was very honest
money.
in both.
Yeah,
he said. For those of you who don't remember, he was interviewed by Ariel, and he said, I asked fighters, do you want to make money or do you want a UFC title? Both are fine options. You just have to be honest with me.
All right. Thank you much. Super chat, completely unrelated to this event, but hey, pay $2.
Shout out Taurus Finney for getting like 8 minutes of time here.
Yeah, good for him.
If Stipe gets injured, does John fight Tom or wait?
Wait.
He's not fighting Tom Aspinall.
No.
Wait.
He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. It's too quick now. It's 2 months away. He's not gonna fight Tom.
They'll call.
He wouldn't fight Chael Sonnen on short notice.
No.
He's not gonna fight. No. He's not gonna fight Tom Aspinall. Crazy. Add 2 extra zeros to that check. Maybe we're talking. But
you give John Jones 8 figures, he'll fight probably anyone.
Yeah.
He'd fight. He would fight. He would ask to fight Alex Pereira on that card. If
probably
that's a better option. Short notice for Alex Pereira.
He would take that.
Goes out,
I know Alex is booked, but the UFC can change plans.
They'll change plans.
Or they'll just have Alex fight, I don't know, Ankalaev on short notice in MSG.
Crazy things.
Could do that too.
Thank you much.
Imagine Alex Pereira goes 4-0 in 2024 and all of his fights are short notice. What a monster.
That'd be
He's
weird.
an anomaly.
I got a question from Joseph Boza.
With a win, how many wins is Sean Brady away from a title shot? He would be 7-1 in the UFC with a win tomorrow.
Probably 2, 3.
I think 3.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that are in line, and there's a lot of people that will generate more eyeballs than Sean Brady. And I'm not saying that's how they should be doing it, but like, if like Jack Della is going to get healthy, Shavkat is out there, Usman's obviously if he gets a win, Gary, Leon, I mean MVP gets 2 wins, Sean Brady gets 2 wins, so you're going to give the title shot to. I would assume the UFC gets its MVP just based on popularity. So probably 3 finishes. If he finishes Gilbert Burns and then racks up 3 more finishes, put him in a title shot, or just stay ready in case something happens.
He's in the mix. He's in the
very much. If he beats Gilbert Burns, he is absolutely in the mix.
Yeah, I think of a finish of Burns. The problem is at the apex, but whatever. But I think if a finish of Gilbert Burns, I think anything can happen. I think it depends.
The apex is tiny octagon helps Gilbert Burns' fighting style because he just goes guns blazing at times.
Oh, for sure. Okay, thank you much, Mr. Boza. Yeah. Oh, we got one more from Mr. Boza.
Could Natty Ice put herself in the title chase at women's flyweight with the win over Jessica Andrade? Of course.
Yeah.
Anyone beating Jessica Andrade is immediately 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot.
She's a win away. If she beats Jessica Andrade, she will probably fight the winner of...
Maybe.
She'd probably fight the Rose Blanchfield winner next.
Yeah.
And if she wins that fight, then you kind of have to give her one.
The winner of Valentina Alexa, if there is a winner, is going to fight Manon.
Yeah. What if Valentina wins?
But what if it's like a back and forth war and Valentina wins, and we just have the Davidson Figueiredo Brandon Moreno, the one flyweight division, which is fine because all of those fights ruled. But move it along, people. And Manon has already beaten Aaron, and she's already beaten Rose. So who's she going to fight? Natty? Fight further down?
No,
that's crazy.
No, she won't. She won't.
No. Just keep weighing as a backup.
Yep.
All right. Thank you much. Joe, Mr.
I haven't.
Good thing we're in September. The MSG show is 2 months away and nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't.
It's the worst kept secret in the world right now.
I imagine they're going to announce it on this really big pay-per-view that they're about to have.
Oh, when's that happening? Where is this happening?
It's in this big circle in the desert.
MGM? Oh, yes, at the big circle. The big circle in the desert.
You're talking about Riyadh season?
Looks like a sphere, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it's the big tennis ball out in the desert.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad place to announce that fight. I thought we were going to get the Jones-Stipe announcement on freaking Contender Series on Tuesday.
Nope. They did. They announced Jones-Stipe.
It was before a press conference.
I remember, but I'm trying to remember which press conference.
International, was it International Fight Week?
UFC 290?
That
sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah, I think it was.
That sounds right.
There's just a random video that aired before the press conference.
Yeah. Because I know, the UFC doesn't like to announce main events out of order. So they weren't going to announce the Sphere card before they announced the Perth main event. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They announce locations, but they don't announce main event. So they're not going to announce November without announce. But now, we've got in September, we got the 2 Octobers. The next one is November.
Yep.
MSG's not booked right that day,
No.
right?
We don't know.
Not officially booked. Okay.
It's yeah.
The original
is MSG official or is just the main event not official yet?
MSG's it's
MSG is official. The UFC
Okay,
put out the UFC put their graphic out. It's like New York City.
I was trying to remember what
But this is the problem. Not a problem for fight fans because it's going to be a good weekend for them. It's going to be an issue for people that cover the sport because you're going to have to be stretched super thin because I'm pretty sure Mike Tyson, Jake Paul is the same exact weekend as MSG, as the MSG card.
It's the night before.
Yeah. So that's going to be a hell of a week.
Oh, Tyson's on a Friday? Tyson Paul's on a Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Because the original date, because you can't have a fight in Cowboy Stadium on the weekend. It's during football season. Yeah, but the original event date was like November 8th or whatever. That's the one that John Jones kept posting about. But then I'm pretty sure Pink Floyd booked MSG that day. So can't bump Pink Floyd.
No way. Nope. All right.
I need my psychedelic rock, dude. Imagine Pink Floyd in the Sphere.
All right, that'd be.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Last time the Sox played the Red Sox of a 14-game losing streak, the White Sox won 7-3 with 3 homers. Right. Suck it, Jose. This team has completely mentally broken the fan base.
But here's the problem. The White Sox have gotten worse since then. They just won their first game in 3 weeks, or yesterday, or 2 days ago, and they're finding creative ways to lose, having a walk-off home run taken away from the guy that caught the walk-off home run. I forget his name right now. He robbed the walk-off home run. If the White Sox had hit this, they finally would have won a game. He pulls it back in, and the next day gets DFA'd. That's how bad the White Sox are. They're getting robbed by guys getting DFA'd on 24 hours notice, and then they run into each other. The White Sox players run. The White Sox are the worst team of our lifetime. This team, it's so bad.
I've been reading that. I've been seeing little videos that is this year's White Sox, are they in the running?
They're on pace. They're on pace to have the worst record in the history of Major League Baseball.
Like under 200, right?
They have 32 wins in September.
That's wild. I've been seeing all the crazy errors and stuff.
The most losses I've ever, the least wins ever, I think, is 40. And I think that was the Mets or the Tigers. The Tigers have had a couple 40, 45, 44 win seasons, especially in those early 2000s. The Dimitri Young. Dimitri Young? Or is it one
pitcher,
of them? Yeah. No. Black hitter. Is it Dimitri Young? One of his. I know there's 2 Youngs. They're brothers. I just forget which one was on the Rays and which one was on the Tigers. But those teams were bad. Each pitcher would have 20 plus losses. The White Sox are ass. Sorry, Benintendi.
All right.
What else we got?
It was Dimitri Young. Delman Young was his brother. The guy that threw the bat at the guy.
You got anything else?
Let me see what we got here. Beastman?
Jose, Mike, and Mustache. Think Bo Nickel should be more active considering he's kind of developing at the moment.
I know Bo Nickel wants to be more active. After his last win at 300, he asked to fight in August. And when I presented the information with him that the pay-per-view in August is in Perth, he said, cool. I got a lot of Australian fans. So he doesn't seem to be the one holding himself out of fighting. I think the UFC is just trying to put him on these massive cards. 300, MSG, the last pay-per-view of the year, et cetera, et cetera.
I wish he was fighting more often.
So do I. I bet so to see.
Yeah, I don't like what the UFC is doing. By just put him out there as much as possible. But here, not my fight promotion.
Because guys are asking to fight him. Jacob Malkoun's making videos about him. Andre Petrosky's called him out every single post-fight press conference he's had. That Brazilian dude that won in St. Louis, I think, called him out. I can't remember. But he's almost 30. So he's not like he's a 22, 23-year-old kid. Tick-tock.
Yeah, I don't get it. And if I was any high level, even someone like Izzy, I'm not sure of Izzy, but if I'm coming off a loss in top 10, I'm trying to fight Bo Nickel as soon as possible. You don't wait. Yes. Do it now. But all right, let me see. What else we got here? Yeah.
Trying to get you guys an update on the Kyle Nelson fight. I don't know if I'll get it, but
the White Sox are 32 and 109, which is crazy.
Golly.
All right. We're
50 games back from first place.
I think this is bait, but I'll take it.
Whatever.
Can we talk about how the Sphere pay-per-view isn't that good outside of the main event? Outside of the main event? What are you talking about?
Two awesome championship fights at the very top.
The Grasso-Shevchenko rivalry has been spectacular. What are you talking about? The first fight was unreal, with like one of the most memorable stoppages of all time. And then the second fight at Noche last year was awesome. It was like one of the 7 best, at worst, one of the 7 best fights of the year. I don't understand this comment. And then Diego Lopez, Brian Ortega. That's good. That's a good fight. What are we doing here?
The winner of that.
Holy shit!
The winner of Ortega and Lopez could very well. I know Volk is saying he's getting the title shot, right? And I think he does deserve it. I'm going to use that word that everyone hates, deserve. There's a world where Ortega Lopez could fight for the title next, especially if like Volk gets hurt or the UFC wants to go a different direction or whatever. Because I tell you what, if Ilya wins and Diego wins, a Mexican fighting a Spaniard in Madrid is going to be bonkers. Even Brian, bonkers.
That would make a lot of sense, but that fight will probably that's gonna be the fight that's gonna end up in Africa. Watch the way the UFC works.
Well, if you guys like remember what's his name? The guy, not Dana White. He spoke after the Perth card. I'm blanking on his. Dave Shaw spoke, and we asked him about Africa update, and he goes, "Do we bring a pay-per-view as the first card? Do we do a fight night?" I'm like, "Bring a pay-per-view. Bring a pay-per-view." And he's like, "Oh, we got to figure out infrastructure and this." I'm like, "I get it, but you have a South African champion. Do it in South Africa."
Just do it. Just do it.
But yeah, the Sphere card is good. A lot of Mexican fighters, a lot of high-level Mexican fighters.
Yeah.
We love a good brown fight.
The prelims especially are,
Will Rose is the first fight of the night.
That's great. Yeah, Yasmin's fighting. Aldana's back. Yeah. Torres.
I think this is going to be one of those cards like that fight night in Dublin I'm not saying all the Mexicans are going to win, but like that fight night that Conor beat Diego Brandao and as police cars whip past my window. It's going to be one of those cards that people are going to be talking about for years as like one of those seminal, like monumental moments in MMA.
Yeah. I think it's a good card. The whole spear thing, I think, is very overplayed, and God bless you if you bought tickets for that because you had to take out, another mortgage.
No, ticket prices got slashed by like 50%.
What happens? Man, that sucks if you bought a ticket full price and then
nature of the game. Yeah. I think the winner of the main event will be a superstar.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
I would love to see Merab being a superstar. That would kind of.
I think Merab could be that guy. I really do.
I think so too. I think so too. I think Merab has that kind of triple G kind of I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like the fans can just latch onto him. They'll feel it, But obviously Sean O'Malley has got the star making thing everywhere. One more super chat before we get out of here.
10 fights, by the way, which is chef's kiss. It's perfect. Kenny, great vid with Silva Mike. Hope she uses Natty Ice. She should. She
liked it.
June 2022. First time I called her Natty Ice. And that was the first time I've ever had the chance to talk to her. I had to tell her. I mean, come on. But all right, I guess we're done. Casey and I will be back 3:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and we'll answer all of your questions. Pre-fight Q&A, the People's Pre-Fight Show, and then we'll watch both cards. And then after the Bellator card, we'll hop on back, maybe a little earlier. Who knows? It all depends on, if Sean Brady does a flying moonsault knockout to Gilbert Burns, we have to jump on like right after to talk about it. So We got that going down. We'll have on to the next one back on Sunday to do a little matchmaking, and then it'll be officially UFC 306 Fight Week, everybody. So get excited for that. It'll be Canelo Fight Week. Good time to be a combat sports fan, everybody. So thank you very much. For Casey, for Jose, I am Mike Heck. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
Bye. Bye, Jose. Bye.
Dibset.
Bye-bye.